two, one, two, one. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Samin, and I am the host of the Sam Myers Show. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. It's Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. Remember being excited about Christmas Eve as a kid? Do you get excited about it now as an adult? I don't, but I rock. So listen, I had a strange. So Cyan, who's my at-home producer, she's like, "Dad, why do you say your boy and you're a man?" It's a good question, right? I was like, "Well, it's just something that we say. Who's we?" I'm like, "Well, my boys." She's like, "Well, aren't you? You're a man." So I'm like, "Yeah, I am," and I was prepared to like start to make it make sense, and I was just like, "You know what? Does it make sense?" But I like it though. I still like it. I still like the way I'm like, "Yo, it's your man, it's your boy." So she's like, "Well, maybe man." So how does this work right now? No, it's your man. It's your main man. So I mean, I want to thank you for hanging out with me on the Sam Myers Show. I'm gonna play with that a little bit just to see how that comes across. See if that works. Kind of ties into baby boy, right? Like we say boys and baby boy, and we live in a crib, and it's all this is. I don't know if this is some type of systematic conditioning. I hadn't taken that on in a way, but out the mouth of babes, right? So I was thinking about that. But that's just something that just literally just happened last night. Christmas comes, Christmas tomorrow. I got all the stuff. It's not wrapped, all of it. Some of it is. A lot of it is. Most of it's not. Do I want to tell the truth? Like none of it is. Of course, no, some of it is wrapped. Some of it is not. Cyan's. So we were ready to wrap it up in like newspaper. She was like, "No, you need to go get wrapping paper and wrap it." So, I do. I remember my parents. I'm about to tell you a lie. I didn't have parents that were together ever that I remember. My mom and my aunt, we all lived together in my aunt's apartment in Harlem. In one year, I remember they wrapped out gifts in aluminum foil. It was the dopest thing ever because you see, it's like, oh my God, it's wrapped in aluminum foil. It's not cheap. A lot of waste, but they were wrapped in aluminum foil. That was very creative. If we had anything, we had creativity, and that's when life was pretty good. It was when we moved away, a few blocks away, 3 blocks, and drugs hit. But I'm not going on that journey. That Christmas changed. The Grinch had come to stay, right? So, but after Christmas comes New Year. So what's up with New Year? Are we getting ready for New Year? Am I getting ready? So I'm thinking about like, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish for New Year's? Like, what is it? I'm talking about my 1 to 3 goals, and then something hit me. I said, how about your goal be to clean out the trunk of your truck? Well, hold on, it's not a truck. Let me be clear. I don't want to. It's a truck. No, it's a CRV, which I think is a step up above a Honda Accord, which is a sedan. It's that first mid-level SUV, right? I don't know of another SUV that maybe a Crossfire from Subaru, but anyway, it's a CRV, and I was scared to buy a Pilot, right? It was like that's just whoa. And my brother had some big truck. My boy, I mean, all my people, they got big trucks. Yukon, this one. I'm like, Denali, this. Nah, keep it right here. But I believe over time I'm ready to possibly. I'm looking, maybe. It works fine for me right now. And there's something manly in my head. Like, no man drives something like this. This is like, this is a woman's car. A man would drive like this big giant thing. And I was just like, but the gas is the gas. I'm just nervous. I don't know if I can back in with something that big. And this is my third car. My third car. And I'm thinking about this is my first car was a PT Cruiser that I bought from my sister's husband's friend. I bought it from him. It was used. And he lived in Mount Vernon. If you ever want to get somebody from Mount Vernon upset, call it the Bronx. Call it the Bronx. Like for me, all that was the Bronx. If you want to get them mad, call it the Bronx. I was like, yeah, I never been in this part of the Bronx. Yo, this is not the Bronx, son. It's Mount Vernon. Like, easy. But I bought that car. It blew up on the highway. It literally did. With Cyan in the back. We were on the west side. And it blew up. Like literally blew up and stopped working. And it was around 4 o'clock. And I remember the Spanish man, young, like my age, young guy, kid, driving by, and he's like, yo, dude, you can't be parked here. You're gonna crash if you see what time it is? I'm like, yeah, I get it, but car broke down. Now I had zero experience. I didn't know what to do. I made a call the police, somebody gotta help me. I'm sitting here. He left. He was like, you can't be here. You're gonna get into an accident. He left. He came back like 5 minutes later. I'm still there. He came back. And he was like, dude, you can't be here. I can't believe you're still here. Put the car in neutral. I didn't even know. I knew nothing about it. I was like, in neutral? What is neutral? And he starts trying to push it and pull. He's like, yo, you gotta help me. So I'm helping him. And he looks inside the car and he sees Cyan in the car. He was like, yo, my God, we have got to get this car off the road because it's rush hour and everybody's gonna be heading to New Jersey and you're in like a blind spot. Love that guy. He helped me out a lot. I didn't understand and I never saw him again, never exchanged numbers. It's just like an angel who came in. So I called the guy who I bought the car from. I'm like, yo, dude. And he's like, yo, take it back. The mechanics are coming. Stand up, dude. He called the people, the shop. He had a shop in Mount Vernon. They came and got the car off the road. They took it off. They paid everything. And so now it was like, well, what am I going to do with this car? I need to sell this car back. So I'm a little nervous because it's like, you pay cash and you deal with some types of people. It's like, nah, son, that's on you. I asked my sister. I was talking with my sister, and she was like, well, I hope you got to talk to Rob. Now I'm just exposing their names, right? So he says, well, I don't know, son. I hope he give you your money back. Right there. That's your man. Why you hope he give me my money back? That's your man. You supposed to eat that. If he doesn't, you give it back. But different flavor. That's just one of them notes. You just take a note to self like, the dude gave me back all the money. No hassle, no qualm, no thanks to anybody else, just because he's a stand-up guy. That was my first car. Then I bought a Civic. Loved it. Then I moved out here and I needed something bigger. You see, my cars are little. I went from a Civic and I drove that for over a year. No driving, really. Alternate side parking. From one side, I drive around the block, move to the other side, hang in the car for an hour and a half, street sweeper come, be there for 2 days. Then when it's time to move again, I was afraid to drive like nobody's business. And then I got my SUV, my CRV. So anyway, the trunk is filled with everything. It's like a baby storage. Remember what I said. Cars, they cost $20,000 at least. And when you see someone's car, when they mistreat it, it to me, it lets you know what's going on up here. Something's going on psychological up there if you have your car filled with debris. Now, given I have a child, but we don't eat we don't eat any fast food actually, but her stuff is filled with toys and silliness. And occasionally it will be like, is that the sandwich that you had for lunch that you started eating in the car that you left there? And is that in the back pocket, like slobbery? Like what? But it won't be like fast food, but it'll be like cookie crumbs. And when you fold the seat down, it's like, yo, dude, do you know how to get it to your mouth? So that's that. There's that. Hey, I'm going to look and see who that is. I'm getting a reaction. I hope it's not saying that my sound is not working. I'm petrified right now. I'm not really. Let me see. No, I can be heard. I see people. What's up? All right. Good. Good morning. Is it still morning? So I'm looking at What's good for the year? I want to get my car, getting my car clean and cleaning my office are the two major things I want to handle this year. Getting my and having it be consistent. My car will let you know the levels of insanity that lurk in here. It's just it's neat, but when I go grocery shopping, I put it in the passenger side. If you know, then you know. And if you don't know, then good for you. But I know. I have to put it in the passenger side. Because I don't know, it's a bike back. This is clothing that I want to give away that got shut down with the COVID and it's but I don't want to give it away to the wrong person because this is good stuff. All of that racket. And I had a talk with a friend the other day, which I really wanted to talk about. I didn't expect to talk about what I was just talking about. So that just took me over about this whole thing with the narrative. They were talking to me about something they heard me say. And it was blackness and about the education, the miseducation of black people. And something came up with them saying they wanted. So I said, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? Here's a man. He was like, I just want to be happy. I'm like, so then be happy. How can I be happy? How can I be happy with everything that's happening? I'm like, so what's happening? He's like, the world, all the stuff you talk about, the stuff you see. I'm like, yeah, that exists. But I still take the steps every day to be happy. You know, I take the steps in my personal life to be happy. I'm responsible for my happiness, right? And that's what I tell my daughter. Now, don't get me wrong. I will push some of that, the idea of to my girlfriend, like, you should make me happy. You know, like that's her unwanted side / title of being in a relationship with me. Like, oh, you should do this. You should have decent teeth. You know, you have that, and you should your desire should be for you to want to make me happy. It's a job nobody should ever take on because the way it's run, there's nothing that I will never actually completely be happy enough with whatever a person does, right? Facts. Whatever a person does. So don't even waste your time. But you get an A for effort. So that's like my own secret desire, but I much prefer them not try to because I know that I have to work on my happy. So we're talking about money. He's talking about trips and trips. He's like, well, I want to go on a trip like you went on. Okay, I'm like, how much you think that trip costs? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, but you never asked me. He's like, well, how much does it cost? I said, no, you can't ask me now. You can't ask me now. I said, you have this conversation about trips and travel and things that you want to accomplish. But you don't know how much it costs, how much it'll take, where the flights, you know, what are the things you want? You want a new car. He gave me a list. I want a new car. I want a real house. Where do you live in a straw house? He was like a real house with like heated floors and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm listening to him and I'm listening and I check in, right? Because I have to check in. I have some hot tea over here. So I have to check in to see if he's just talking. Are we just talking? Because a lot of times I have friends and we just talk. And they just want to throw things against me like spaghetti on the wall to see if it sticks. Some people want to run ideas to like check it. Like, does this make sense? And then sometimes people want advice, which I'll give you some advice and I keep it straight that this is how I see it. Or sometimes people want you to poke holes in their theories so they can tighten it up, which is very, very useful, right? To have an idea that I want to do this certain thing. And I can sit there and go, well, that's not going to work because of this. And that's not going to work. Well, what are you going to do about this? And how does that happen what are you going to do when you run out of money? Where are you going to get the space? Why can't you do that in your own house? Why do you think you need an office for that? Why do you think you need a secretary? Why is it that what is it that actually needs to happen? So I'm really good at pushing and poking, and people call me just for that, right? Which is cool, but some people just call me to be heard, which I'm also available as well to do. I'm not promoting anything. I'm available as well to do that, especially for like my daughter, my partner. I listen to my daughter. She'll tell me some stuff, and it's like, Am I just, and I'll say this, am I just listening to you or do you want to talk about this? She's like, no, I just need you to listen. Great. I'll just listen. Because sometimes she just wants to run down her day in a very cathartic way. And sometimes she's like, no, I want your advice on that. I don't know what to do. She said this to me and I said that. And then she was crying. Did I say something? And I'm like, you said something, but I don't know if, you're responsible for why she cried, because what you just said that you said, if that's what you said, didn't sound like anything crazy. Because I'm her number one critic. Because I got to chill. I let it be her, but I also got to, yeah, you got to bring it in a little bit, right? Just a little, because it's good to be free and wild and out there. So he and I are talking, and what I get from the conversation with him is no plan. It's just ideas. It's no plan. It and if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We've heard it. That's not new. I did not create it. None of it. This is things that I've heard for years. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And then I started to think about life. Like, what's the life plan? What is like our plan, right? And you start out here, and then because I'm pretty good at my plan, and I'm sure you're pretty good at your plan. What does your plan have to do with my plan? Maybe nothing, and maybe that's part of a problem that we, right? I mean, we as a people don't have a collective plan. We're waiting for somebody to do something that we can agree with. I'll take away we and I'll say I. The reason I do that is because when I say we have, if you disagree, then automatically you just stop listening, right? If I say, yo, we got to change our life, and you sitting there like, no, we don't. My life is good. So when I change, why I'm constantly changing some of the things that I say is because I need to stay connected. So, and I'll keep it personal because that's when I know I'm speaking the truth as a fact. So I need to get my ideas around being a collective, like being interested in what the next person is doing, and seeing if it works. And one thing I'm really good at is saying that doesn't work. I'm a critic. I'm a hater at times. Like I sprinkle hate. It's like not deep hate, just enough to relieve my pressure. Like I hate you a little bit. I'll still love you, but I hate you just a little bit. And sometimes I say it, I'm like, I'm hating on you right now. I'm not in a space where I can hear this fantastic tale you have to tell me, because I'm hating. And we'll laugh about it, and I'll be like, nah, but I'm only serious. I'm hating you right now. So just give me 5. Excuse me. So with the plan, so he and I on the phone for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And we're doing a little workshop on the phone. And he's like, well, I want to go to Paris. Okay. How much does it cost to go to Paris? $10,000. He just throws off $10,000. I'm like, well, number one, I don't know why you want to go to Paris now. I don't know why you want to go anywhere. I don't know why anybody wants to go anywhere at all right now. Ever. Like ever. But it's happening. So he wants to go. So so we look up the price while we're together on the phone. Flights right now, I think they were like 7:30, depending on when. The days really made a bigger difference with days. So we found it cheapest. I think it was 7:30. So that's 7:30 twice, $1,460 plus tax. You're talking about $1,500, $1,600, $2,000 just to just block it in, because the taxes sometimes are ridiculous. And $2,000. Now, how much would it cost for you to stay? Looked up an Airbnb. But we broke it down. At the end of the whole thing, a week-long stay, 10 days actually, 10-day stay, it came up to, I think it was $2,700, something that was reasonable. Now, that's not including food or anything else like that. And he was like, I didn't think it was that cheap. I'm like, yeah, you didn't think it was that cheap. And I didn't know the price at all, because my price was a little bit higher when I went, because my tickets were $960, I think. But that's part of the issue. And then we started to actually have a bigger conversation about the plan and the structure and really getting in touch with what is it that, back to me, what is it that I want? I do want to be happy. I'm like him. I want to be happy. I want to be able to do anything that I want to do whenever I want to do it. Right? And if you want to do things that cost money, that means that I have to have a certain amount of money to handle that. But the idea of having a conversation of an existence around finances to me is trivial, and it's to me it's corny because money is ever flowing. So after money, like what is it? What is it that you want? What is it that I want? Yeah, I want $1 million. Okay, you got $1 million. Now what? Why do you want $1 million? What are you going to do with it? What am I going to do with $1 million? Oh, I could pay off all my bills. So all the bills are paid. All my bills are paid. Like all the stuff. You could pay out your student loan. Everything is done. Now what? Right? So now what? So now I get to teach my daughter about giving. That doesn't start from the idea I want to have $1 million. Right? That's when I work it down to answer all the questions. So what do you want to do with it? Well, I want a car. Okay, boom. Well, I want those shoes. Okay, get how much? And break it all down. I've broken it all down that I was able to take a look and see what I thought it cost to be happy, right? With quotations. And I hate when people do that. Right. You ever have a friend, you have somebody who does that all the time, the quotation marks, air quotation. But the idea to be happy as a price, $400,000 made at the end of the day, it was under $400,000. It was probably like $250,000 complete to have my life here. Now, of course, I'm human, and the car I have, I want another one, and the place I own is too small. I need another bathroom, and I got a dog. Now I want to do something with a yard, and it ever flows because I'm a human, and that's how I'm designed. My human design is to be satisfied for a moment and then be dissatisfied. But I know that. So I'm in a constant, waltz with that idea of I'm happy now, but I'm not happy. I got this car. I should have got another one. It's white. I should have got a blue. It's this. I had no heat in the back seats. ACs now. Oh, I am in that space where this is ever flowing. So as he and I are talking, man, it's really getting rich. It's fun. We're laughing, and then we start to talk about the bigger picture. And it's all in the world of black, right? Like I'm clear that I'm clear. She just walked out now. They're calling her. I'm clear that there's an idea of freedom that I have. It's freedom, but it's not my design of freedom. I'm happy with what I'm given. I'm happy to make it back home, right? Like if I'm going to be straight talk, I'm happy to be able to go out, take care of the remedial task that I have to do daily. Usually taking the Cyan to school, going shopping, taking a car to get checked out, taking the dog somewhere, like that type of stuff is what I do. And as long as I get to make it back home safe, it's a win. That's I don't have that as enough. That that shouldn't be a win. That should be a given, right? That's a given that I made it home safe. Like really, sometimes it's like I'm in a house like, phew, I did it. I made it back home safe. Right now, it's not every day. I don't sit there in a panic. I'm not paranoid, and I don't sweat. And I sweat. Sometimes I do get a little nervous, or I get anxiety when I see certain people and places and things like that. Like, you know, just I'm a little bit nervous, but I think I have a false idea of what freedom is, and it I question if it's based on conditioning and the conditioning that we can have. See, the question, where can we have a conversation about, where can I have a conversation about what's happening right now without it being connected to slavery? Is there a possibility for a conversation that I can speak about where I have conditions that are unrealistic, that are relatable to other people who look just like me? and nobody else, right? Nobody else has those concerns. And we're not even connected by birth or anything like that, but we have the same idea that that's a conditioning. That's a conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Like my dog, I have a dog. His name is Rufus. He's a beagle mixed with, I think, miniature Doberman Pinscher. He's a pain. He is handsome. He's sneaky. He's a dog. He behaves with me like a cat. Why? Because I don't tolerate him. I do not. I don't. He could be hopping and skipping around the moment I come in the door, and I'm not like, I'm here to punish a dog. I don't want anybody to think that. When I come in, it's like, he won't jump on me. He'll run towards me. He'll look. He'll do this little bow thing, and he'll keep it right. He's like, I see you, and bounce. Cyan comes in, he's on his hind legs. He's crip walking. He is, he's touching patty cake, the whole nine. Tasha the same. Me, conditioning. When I first got this dog, I come from not having dogs. So I'm like, dogs don't get on my furniture. That doesn't make sense to me. Dogs don't do that. Dogs are dogs. I don't think a dog is a kid. I think a dog is a dog. Do they have feelings? Yes, he has feelings. I can say something, I can see his face like he literally has the personality. He's like, if you were smaller, I'd attack you. But I think back to humans, there's a certain level of conditioning. And I believe we have a unified cause. There's a unified all around all individuals, right? Like that's the bigger picture. That's the ideal, maybe. But within that, there's these sub compartments. This compartment that's missing a unified identity. And I think that I get to be my bills are paid. My kid goes to a fantastic school. She has a fantastic life. She's getting a Switch for Christmas. She has abundance of gifts. She has this, her trust fund this, and we're good. So long. And that to me doesn't work when I'm connected to people who don't have any of that. Any of it. They don't have any of that. Because if they don't have it, then how do I have it? Like, why am I okay with that? And I'm not talking about giving my stuff to them, because I'm not doing that. But where's the space of me being able to give? And I do give, right? I give, and that's something I get to train. I was gonna say train Cyan on, is the art of giving. The art of giving, and she had to be taught that. I had to be taught that. Because I came from a poverty mindset where me. And then when I got in a different position, my wife was so generous. She would say, "No, why do you like, you're stingy?" I was like, "Why do you mean I'm stingy?" She's like, "Yo, you have so much." And I'm still was like, "What do you mean I have so much?" But she traveled the world and she's seen the world. And we as Americans have so much. And we got bills, and we getting, I could say this like it's nothing. We get killed all the time by cops. But we have something. But what's missing to me is a idea of, this is what we want. This is what we need. This is what will work collectively for all of us. Now that's something that I have that's a missing. And I don't know how to create that. I know that I can go back to when they separated us off the ships, and the whole thing where we're separate. We're very separate, very, very separate. I'm separate. I'm even separate within my own little family. Like I've started to rebuild a family. Like, okay, you're like my aunt. Oh, you could be my uncle. Yo, you're my this. Now I still got some elements of my family of origin, but there's a lot that's just like, you don't work for me. And it's drugs and alcohol I've riddled and separated, and it's just trauma, people with unworked on trauma. And that's not just Black stuff. That's stuff, right? That's stuff, and I'm keeping it clean. But that's just that type of stuff that keeps us separate. Yeah, and when I go out and get some help for my trauma and try to come back or attempt to come back and say, look, this is what worked for me, I have to wait. I did like this, like somebody smacked it out of my hands, but I have to wait for a person to actually request assistance with their trauma. So that also takes a person being able to acknowledge their trauma. And I think we, I think I come from a space where people do a really good job of not acknowledging these experiences as trauma. They're experienced as the what is. Well, that's how it was. That's how it is. It's not trauma. It's not trauma. So therefore, since that's what it is, I don't need any help with it. So when I go and get work done and work on it, to come back and be face to face with somebody who's still repressed, and that's what it is. It's like you still stuck. You still wearing diapers. Don't you know we had the diapers? I didn't got the pull ups, and now I'm in big boy pants. Look, and you still wearing a diaper, and you're telling me why how comfortable it is because it's warm. And I'm like, well, you could do this, and it's like, no, there's nothing to be seen here. I got a silk. I got these, true religions on top of the diaper. I'm good to go. And it's like, so you just stacking on top of the trauma, and that's something that I have that if worked on, that would lessen the separation, if that makes sense, right? I think that was a good example though. That was that was a good example. The true religion over the diaper. That was because that's what it's like though. That's really what it's like. Like, you're not interested in this at all. And when I first started to do the work, I was forcing it on people. Like, no, listen, the earth is round. And I didn't even ask you about the earth, son. I don't. And that was one of my biggest mistakes that I came in like, I know. Listen, I'm gonna change everything, and they were like, it's nothing to be changed, because a person has to come to get to a point in themselves that they say like, this is unworkable. This doesn't work, And I had gone so far in the wrong direction that it was easy for me to start to spot what didn't work. Like that doesn't work about me. That doesn't work. The weight was obvious, but like this addiction, my attitude, my personality, I'm so phony. Like all of that had to just be upheaval. I had to like really become a brand new person and I had to rewrite my personal narrative, which I think we work on individually, right? Like I want to do this. And this is the time of the year where I think the narrative starts to get written a little bit. Usually it's about weight or money. Money is corny. Weight will save your life. Money is money. And I mean that when you got Jeff Bezos, who's like he's worth so much money, he gets a divorce and doesn't even care. Like it doesn't even go to court. Like that many billions, that the fact that his wife got half, he was open about it. He was just free about it. I have people in my circle who are going at it for nothing. I've had people do whack things to me for pennies on a dollar. Really? Like, really? Really? Like, that's not enough to pay off your house. And that's what our relationship was worth. You know what I mean? And that's people who are my complexion. So I'll keep it in that, like, yeah, well, that's how we, and then it becomes, how we do. That's how these Negroes do each other. Right? But it's the narrative. The narrative. What is the narrative that, my question, what is the narrative that we will write and not be in the impact of what somebody else determines is a life for us? Right? I have my life set down. I could die in this trajectory. It's so much better than where I come from. It's not over there, but right here in my zone, my zone, in my lane. That's what zone. My zone in my lane. Right now, life is pretty good. It's not perfect. It's kind of sexy sometimes. It's like all the things. I have all the things, right? The things. Too many things. Still working on some spirituality because that's a missing for this person, this shell. Right? That's a missing. It could be over there. This space could be a lot bigger, right? But it'll be more of the same, right? It'll be just a bigger one, and the things inside will be more of the thing. That's the normal. But what about the next person? And how do I get someone to work on a plan with me when they're like, well, you don't understand because it is. And it's always about money. I swear to you, it always comes down to money. But you don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. I think I do. This is my daughter's doctor calling me. All right. I'm gonna. I gotta wrap up. I gotta wrap up. And this is going on. Listen, I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me today. This is a. I'm going to continue this tomorrow on Christmas Day. Listen, everybody have a fantastic Christmas. I don't even know if it's what else. What else happens with Christmas? Have some great gifts. I'll check in with y'all all tomorrow. Love, love, love your daughters. Do fantastic things and take good care of yourself. Listen, thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. That was abrupt, I know, but I gotta go take this call. I gotta go. She's coming to the door. That's what's happening, and I don't want her to bang on my door. All right. Peace, love, love, love your daughters. Take great care of yourself. Have a happy, Merry Christmas Eve, and I'll see you tomorrow on Christmas. I don't know when I'm gonna get on. I don't know when it works, but I'll be here. Peace.